All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would love to give all praise and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh been the name of God, and Yahweh Shai been the name of Yahweh Shai. And I want to quickly read Sirach, the 23rd chapter, concerning, the mouth and the tongue and the things that come out of the tongue. It's a very good chapter. And when you read Sirach, it teaches you, how to speak, how to move, how to conduct yourself. It gives you more wisdom, of the scriptures. Very good book to read, But right now, let's read Sirach 23, and I'm going to start from the top. And the reader says, O Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life, lead me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them. It says, who would set scourges over my thoughts, and a discipline of wisdom over my heart, that they spare me not for my ignorances, and pass not by my sins, lest my ignorances increase, and my sins abound to my destruction, and I fall by my adversaries, and my enemies rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. Right? So the brother Sirach, he's asking, who will set scourges over my thoughts? Because oftentimes we have wicked thoughts, right? We have evil thoughts and evil desires in our mind. And which is not good, because the Most High said the thought of foolishness is sin. So, you also don't want to have these evil thoughts, but these evil thoughts do come. So, but let's see what he asked for. He said, verse number 4, O Lord, Father and God of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servant always a haughty mind. Turn away from me vain hopes. And that's what you want the Most High to turn away from you. A haughty mind, a proud mind. You don't want a proud mind, You don't want to have vain hopes. You don't want a proud look. These are the things that you don't want, and you ask the Father. You ask Yahweh Ba'Shem, I'll try to turn these things away from you, because ultimately you don't want to have them, right? And ultimately it's sent unto you, right? So, let's see, verse number 5 says, turn away from me vain hopes. Like, people just be having vain hopes, things you hope for that's, just vain, People hope for $1 million to fall out the sky. People hope for to be, better than Bill Gates. That's just vain, People hope that, the woman of their dreams is going to appear walking down the street. People actually have vain hopes. These things have done no profit. It says, in concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up that is always desirous to always serve thee. It says, verse number 6, let not the greediness of the belly, nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into imputed mind. Imputed mind meaning like a reprobate mind, right? You don't want to have a reprobate mind. And you ask the Father, don't give you that. Even when you read Psalms, let's get that precept right quick. Go to Psalm 51 right quick. Even King David, he prayed this. All right, let's go to Psalm 51 and verse number 11. It says, cast not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. So that's something that's good to ask the Most High for, is that he don't give you an imputed mind, or he don't take the Holy Spirit away from you. All right, let's go back to Sirach. So these are things, that we don't want to have, right? We don't want to have a proud look. We don't want to have a haughty mind. We want the Most High to turn away vain hopes and concupiscence. I wrote the definition down. Concupiscence says a lustful feeling, strong sexual desire. You don't want to have that, right? You don't want to have this strong sexual, lustful feeling, desires. You don't want to have these things, right? It says, let's continue on. Verse number 7, it says, hear, O ye children, the desire of discipline of the mouth. He that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. And this ultimately what I want to touch on is the mouth, You don't, because the mouth is what ultimately get people killed, you know. Also time and chance. But a lot of people have been slain and killed in battle and killed in general because of their mouth. So the Bible is teaching us to have discipline of the mouth and to really just be quiet, because it says, he that keepeth it shall never be taken in his lips. When you looked at Yahushua, when he was being delivered up, what did he do? And he just sat quiet, He would say, he would be quick with his words, He'll say, thou sayest, He'll let people talk and he'll say, look, you said that, He was a good listener, right? So that's something also we could take from that. And I want to jump down. I'm going to jump down to verse number... Let's jump down. Let's step down to verse number 12. It says, there's a word that is clothed about with death. The Most High grant that it be not found in the heritage of Jacob. For all such things shall be far from the godly, and they shall not wallow in their sins. Right? So the Most High said there's a word that is clothed about with death. You could say certain things, and they could, just, really beat down somebody, just off the words you're speaking, just about how you're saying it. So, just be careful, the things that you say and how you say it. Right? Let's go to Sirach 28 and verse number 18. It says, many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so as many have fallen by the tongue. You see that? So many people have fallen by the edge of the sword. Many people died in battle, got slain, killed, beat down. People got shot in the head. People died in wars, battles. People getting blown up by grenades. A lot of people died in battle, but not as many has fallen by the tongue. Many more people have fallen by the tongue than people who died by the edge of the sword, right? So that's something to take in consideration, while you live on the earth. It's just be careful how you speak and the things that you say out your mouth. Let me get one more and I'm gonna close up. Sirach 37 and 18, it says, four manner of things appear good and evil, life and death, but the tongue ruleth over them continually, right? So you have four manner of things appear. You have good and evil, you have life and death, but the tongue, it ruleth over them continually, man. And the tongue is, the tongue is very powerful, It could, ultimately through the tongue, empires was established, just off the power of the tongue, communication and, speaking one to another. That's how we overcame in the time of the wall of Jericho. When we walked around the wall, really in silence, but when we blew the trumpet, I'm trying to think of something, hold on. I'll have to get the account, but just the power, just going back to the point, the power of the tongue is just very powerful, man, Because, when you go to battle, you got to talk to your people and talk to your men. You encourage them. Even when you read about in the book of Maccabees, when Judas was, when his men that was with him was afraid of the battle, he communicated with them and encouraged them, He revived. It said that he revived their spirits, roughly paraphrasing, but let me just get this last definition. It says impudent, not showing due respect for another person. So we don't want the Most High to give us an impudent mind. Okay. I'll review one more thing. Slovakia. Let me read this one more time and close up. All right, the rest of Sirach 23 and 12, it says, there's a word that is clothed about with death. The Most High grant that it be not found in the heritage of Jacob. For all such things shall be far from the godly, and they shall not wallow in their sins. And Lord, when this is edifying, exhorting, and comforting unto the nation of Israel. And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And Shalom, Israel, Shalom.